Welcome to the Sports Bash pre-show presented by Francesco's of Babylon. Since 1971, they have been a venue for excellent Italian food. To book a reservation, order catering, or to hold events, call 631-587-1340. Good morning, everyone. I'm Peter Schwartz, joined by Vinny Tickets, 631-451-1039, the number to call to join the show later on. Good morning, Vinny. How was your weekend?
Always great, Peter. How was yours?
We had an interesting weekend. Had some fun at the Fanatics Fest. I'll get to that in a second. So it's been a busy weekend, doing a lot of things. Coming up on the show, we'll check out the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. Got a good one for today. Today's question, I think, will be an interesting topic of conversation. We'll have that, and we'll also have This Day in Sports History. Wiz will be by with that. But obviously, it was a huge sports weekend. We'll touch on the Mets and Yankees when we welcome our radio audience. Before I talk about Fanatics Fest, and I'll bring this up later in the show also. Aaron Boone, you can say what you want about him as a manager. As a manager. But yeah, thank you. So I was trying to hold the sneeze in and it didn't work out.
Yeah, that's right.
You could say what you want. One thing you could say positive about him, and I think the players will all say this as well. He's very loyal. He's a loyal soul. There's no question about it. I think he's a player's manager. You'll never see him rip somebody in public. And when a guy's got a role, unless the guy completely falls apart, which I think we're at that point here with Clay Holmes, he is not going to remove somebody from their position. He's just so loyal to a fault. And when he continues to say, well, Clay is our guy, well, if it happens once, okay, it happened. Mariano blew saves once in a while. Happens twice, all right, the guy's in a slump. That's 10 blown saves last night. That's 10.
Leads the majors.
I mean, the Yankees have not had somebody blow 10 saves in a season since Dave Righetti in the 80s. So it's a significant problem. And the fact that the Yankees still, and I sound like a broken record with this, but the fact that the Yankees are still tied with the Orioles for first place with 10 blown saves and with the issues that they've had, and he's been a big one, is remarkable.
Well, it's a testament to the team as well. I mean, for them to be atop the heap right now with the way that they played during that one stretch through July, maybe the baseball gods are on our side.
I mean, Luke Weaver was lights out last night. Tommy Kahnle was lights out last night. I mean, would it hurt? You're in a pennant
you have to try it.
You're in a pennant race right now.
Yeah.
And are you going to turn? You get into the playoffs, whether they win the AL East or not, they're going to the playoffs. I mean, it would be a colossal failure right now if they didn't make the playoffs at all. But you get a lead in the ninth inning in a playoff game, and potentially with your season on the line, and you're comfortable turning the ball over to Clay Holmes.
You got to change it up a little. Absolutely have to change it up.
I mean, at the very least. We're talking about cutting down innings for Luis Gil. They're talking about maybe shutting him down. Maybe make Luis Gil the closer. Give it a shot. See, I would have loved Luis Severino to become the Yankees closer because he was constantly on the deal. He's doing a great job for the Mets. But I would have always liked to see what Luis Severino could have done as the Yankees closer. But maybe Luis Gil is the answer there. Maybe he is.
Yeah, I think you have to explore options. You cannot go into the playoffs with a guy who's blown 10 and every single time. I mean, he comes in and you just have that feeling and you can't, I don't think anybody has the confidence in him, including himself.
Yeah, he looks like
he
lost
looks
person.
Lost out there. He's nervous. He's, they have to make a change because we cannot go into the playoffs relying on this guy to get that last 1, 2, or 3 outs. It's just an uncomfortable feeling.
And before the pre-show ends and we welcome our radio audience, just a quick note about Fanatics Fest. Had a great time with the family at Fanatics Fest at Javits Center Saturday. So many things to do, so many interactive exhibits. The NFL had an exhibit there. They had the Super Bowl trophy. They had all the Super Bowl rings. Major League Baseball had a batting cage there. Hockey was a shooting target. So many great things, and there were a lot of sports celebrities that were there signing autographs and taking pictures for a price. in addition to your price of admission. But I thought
Charging for autographs.
Charging for autographs. That's going to be a subject I want to cover on the show at some point. And maybe it's even a poll question. But all in all, we had a great time. Lots of things to do at this event. And I think next year they're going to bring it out to Los Angeles.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? When we do that episode, we'll have our friend Warren come on and talk to us
I
a little
think we
bit.
should do that. But talking about autographs, paying for autographs, what they're really worth is a huge. It's always been a big factor for me as a collector. Is it worth to pay for an autograph? Is it worth to wait it out? I think that's a great question. But a lot of people online. But the wrestlers, WWE sold out all the autograph sessions. They were the only group that sold out all the people were nuts there. We're going to welcome our radio audience right now.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
Welcome to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com, where you'll never pay a service fee. Sports Bash is also brought to you by the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage, where every customer is considered family. Mention Sports Bash, get a free dessert with your meal. By the offices of Dr. Anthony Ippolito at Chiropractic Care Plus, located at 1 John Street in Babylon. Chiropractic Care Plus is the only choice when searching for Long Island chiropractors. Give Dr. Ippolito a call at 631-669-6221. By Bearcat Billing Service, your trusted partner in medical billing. Experience the Bearcat way, personal, professional, and tailored to your needs. Give Gary a call at 516-796-2400. Tell him Sports Bash sent you. By the Marty Lyons Foundation, the official charity of Sports Bash Media. The third annual Bowling for Wishes event coming up this Friday, August 23rd at Levittown Lanes in Levittown. Should be a great event. Looking forward to going to that on Friday. For more details and to purchase tickets, go to MartyLyonsFoundation.org. And by Collaborate Studios, a content marketing production facility. For more info, call them at 516-509-8277. Good morning again, everyone. I'm Peter Schwartz, joined by Vinny Tickets. Good morning.
Good morning,
And
Peter.
I asked on the pre-show, I'll ask again for our radio audience. How was the weekend?
The weekend was great. My wife will kill me if she hears me say that. My wife moved my son into his new apartment down in Knoxville, Tennessee. I know she did a lot of work. Thank you, Adrian, for doing that. I had the arduous task of keeping tabs on my daughter for the weekend, which was actually pretty simple. So thank you to my wife.
Does she play a fall sport? Is she getting ready for a fall sport in high school or just softball?
No, she's softball. She was doing volleyball, but I think her volleyball career is now over. She's retired.
She's retired as a volleyball player.
Yes.
Okay. Well, speaking of moving in, you weren't here on Friday, but I don't know if you probably saw the video clip of me talking about checking Bradley, and that was and you told me it was going to be tough. You told me, you're honest, and listen. It's not easy to say goodbye the first time.
Yeah, no, it's just a strange feeling. You know, you take your kid to college and, you have this 17 years or 16 years of seeing them every day of your life. And now you bring them to a strange location and you drive away without your child.
Yeah.
And it's just very emotional.
And, in our case, and for other families who have student athletes, you are now trusting the next 4 years, not just with the teachers at the school, but you're trusting your child with, and I say child, I'm always going to refer to him as my child, but he's a big guy now, but you're trusting him now with a coach who's you're hoping to take care of him for the next 4 years, and it's fun. He's having a good time so far, so all is good. We talk to him about 18 times a day.
Well, boy.
At least that's where it is right now, but I'm sure that'll lower it. And we'll see him September 7th. They're playing, Western Connecticut's playing at the Merchant Marine Academy on September 7th. So his first game is right here on Long Island.
Yeah,
maybe a special sports bash.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I love that. He'll do great things, though, Peter. He's a nice boy.
We're very excited. Thank you very much. It is time for the Sports Bash Flash, brought to you by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, where every customer is considered family. The Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Mention Sports Bash and get a free dessert with your meal. Let us begin last night with the Little League Classic in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Yankees and Tigers tied at 2 in the bottom of the 10th.
If the Tigers move them over, move them in, they win the game. 1-2. Line, base hit left field. McKinstry's at third, gets the wave. Dominguez comes up throwing on a line. Tag, save, ball game over.
Emmanuel Berbari with the call on WFAN. Parker Meadows, the game-winning hit. The Yankees lose to the Tigers 3-2 in 10 innings. They had that 2-1 lead in extra innings. They had a 1-0 lead until Clay Holmes had his 10th blown save of the season. That Mark Leiter blew it in the 10th inning, and the Yankees and Orioles are now tied for first in the American League East. We touched on this during the pre-show, and just for our radio audience, look, again, it happens once, it happens. Mariano Rivera blew saves during his career, including one in the World Series in the biggest moment possible, but doesn't take away from his Hall of Fame career. Clay Holmes, it's 10 times. It's enough. You're in the middle of a pennant race. I think Aaron Boone's got to sit down with Brian Cashman and the Yankee Brain Trust and say, maybe we need to change it up.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to make a change. You can't just keep letting this guy go out there and implode. I mean, it's outing after outing after outing. Enough is enough already. Make a change. Try somebody else to be the closer. They have other arms. And
I suggested Luis Gil on the pre-show.
Yeah, I like that idea. I never thought of that. I think that'd be a great option. Because he needs a rest. They're saying he needs a rest.
The only issue is, and maybe this changes if he transitions to closer, is that sometimes he tends to struggle in the first and second innings.
Yes.
So if you're bringing him right in, that might be an issue. But I think it's something they have to think. At least Luke Weaver or Tommy Kahnle, one of those two, deserve at least a shot with Clay Holmes struggling. And the Yankees are off today before opening a series with the Guardians on Tuesday night at Yankee Stadium. At Citi Field, Mets lost to the Marlins 3-2, so the Amazons take 2 of 3. Derek Hill, a tie-breaking 2-out RBI single in the top of the 8th. But the Mets have their fingers crossed today. Brandon Nimmo homered in the 6th, suffered a right shoulder injury, making a diving catch in the top of the 7th. Manager Carlos Mendoza had this update after the game.
We'll see. He's pretty sore when he came out. He's a throwing shoulder, obviously. That's what, I said, let's take a look at this. So he's going to get an MRI tomorrow and see what we're dealing here with.
That MRI is today. Nimmo exited the game after striking out in the bottom of the 7th. He's been such a consistent hitter for the Mets this year. They'd hate to, at this point, they're 2 games behind the Braves for the 3rd wild card spot. They cannot afford to lose Brandon Nimmo from that lineup for an extended period of time.
Absolutely not. So we're not blue and orange here, but I will say this: we always want New York to compete.
Well, business is good for Ticketbash.com if the Mets make the playoffs. That's for sure.
Yes, it is,
and
the
important
Yankees.
important games down the stretch.
Absolutely.
And of course, with both teams in a pennant race, Ticketbash.com for all of your ticket needs. And for the Yankees this week, it's the Yankees and the Guard. Both teams are home during the week this week.
Not too often. that happens.
So the Mets are playing the Orioles. Let's go Mets! Come on now, you can help the Yankees out a little bit, right?
Let's
it's not
go
that
Mets.
often that you really see 2 Yankee fans yelling, "Let's go Mets!" Listen, you're playing the Orioles. It's your chance to help out. You know what? We went to Philadelphia and swept the Phillies.
Return the favor.
Return the favor. Let's go. Come on, guys. Come on, Mets. Let's go. At least 2 out of 3. I'm not asking for a sweep of the Orioles. I'm asking for 2 out of 3. You think the Mets can come through?
I think the Mets are going to sweep.
You think the Mets are going to sweep? Wiz, you're the resident Met fan. What do you think?
2 out of 3 sounds reasonable.
I'll take 2 out of 3.
Yeah, we'll take 2 out of 3.
I'm not a greedy person.
But remember, you heard it here first. Mets sweep.
Mets open up that series with the Orioles tonight. By the way, Wednesday is a rare opportunity for local baseball fans to have a day-night doubleheader. You have the Mets in the afternoon at home, the Yankees at night at home. So could be an interesting afternoon into evening on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Don't want to
Subway
jinx it, but
doubleheader. We'll call it a Subway doubleheader.
Subway doubleheader. The wheels are in motion to try and make it happen on Wednesday. I'm trying to work that out, but we'll see if we can do that. By the way, the Mets and the Mariners are going to play in next year's Little League Classic in Williamsport. That was announced during the game last night. So the Yankees and Tigers played last night, and Joe Torre made the announcement during the game that it's going to be the Mets and the Mariners next year. And the Mets will be playing in this game for the 2nd time. They played the Phillies a few years ago. It was a really cool scene there in Williamsport last night.
They did a great job.
Yeah.
They did a great job. It was, very nice seeing all the kids and seeing how they brought the players in. They brought the players in actually on buses, and every player got assigned to a kid, so they're sitting next to a kid. I mean, it has to be a once-in-a-lifetime experience for 99.9% of these kids, so it was nice to see.
And I know some people are confused, and I was too. Believe it or not, I was confused about something. But when they first started doing this, I'm like, oh, they're playing a Major League Baseball game where they play the Little League World Series? No, it's not in the same stadium where the Little League World Series takes place. It's in the AA stadium for the Williamsport Crosscutters. So they have fixed up that stadium for this Little League Classic every year, and they do a wonderful job. The place is filled with kids who are participating in the Little League World Series. And look, again, we could talk about till the cows come home how bad of a decision some things Major League Baseball has done have been, like the Ghost Runner and things like that, and during COVID when they shortened games to 7 innings during doubleheaders. But this is one of the great events of the year when they do this. And listen, the Tigers gave up a gate for this to happen, so the teams have to be willing to pinch it for the betterment of the game, and that's what it's about, growing the game.
Yes. In light of your statement about the stadium, that's what my wife said. She's like, oh my goodness, you know how many home runs they're going to hit tonight?
When I talked about this with Jared, he was like, Dad, Aaron Judge could sneeze and it could go over the fence. Like a pop-up is going to go over the fence.
Absolutely.
So, by the way, also, the Long Island Ducks lost to Southern Maryland yesterday, 7-5. Coming up on Sports Bash, we're going to have today's Sports Bash poll question of the day. We'll also have this day in sports history. Lots more to talk about. We'll take your phone call, 631-451-1039. We'll tell you about tomorrow's Free Ticket Tuesday, which is coming up on the show. Also, stay with us on Facebook and YouTube. During the commercial break, we'll have some words from our friends at the Embassy Diner, and we'll have some other comments. I'm going to have some more thoughts about Fanatics Fest for those who heard on the pre-show. I'll finish those up during the break. We're coming back with more right after this. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz. I want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Peter Schwartz, Vinny Tickets, back during our commercial break here on Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. On the pre-show, we were talking about going to Fanatics Fest on Saturday. Funny moment. So the WWE had this big setup, and you could pick the song of your favorite wrestler and come in like they introduce you on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. So I picked Triple H. And Triple H always did this thing with a bottle of water where he takes a drink, he pours it on his head, spits it up in the air. So I get a bottle of water, I'm online, and they call me in. The gorilla position is this area behind the stage where you go in. I walk through two people from the Fanatics Fest. They see the bottle. What do they think the bottle of water in my hand is for? I start to walk down the ramp. I pour a little bit over my head, and as I'm about to go pour it in my mouth, they come running. No, you can't do that. I'm like, but I was being Triple H. Like, why would they? Triple H was actually there an hour before, and they let him do it.
Yeah, you know what, Peter? I'm going to have to make a call on that one. That is not right. I was excited to see the end of the production, but they interrupted it, right?
Yeah,
they grabbed the bottle of water.
So. By that point, I just, I was going to do all these things that Triple H did. I said, that's it, whatever. I had fun. We're coming back to our radio audience right now. Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. Phone number to call is 631-451-1039. I'm Peter Schwartz, joined as always by Vinny Tickets. We'll take your phone calls again, 631-451-1039. Anything is on the table. We got the Yankee disaster last night. The Mets could not finish off the sweep. If you went to Fanatics Fest, we'd like to hear from you. We were talking about it on the pre-show and during the break. Had a wonderful time with my family at Fanatics Fest on Saturday at the Jacob Javits Center. Lots of cool things to see, and I think next year they're bringing it to Los Angeles. I heard some people talking about it. I still think they're going to do it.
Is that
once a year.
official yet?
thought I saw like 7-Eleven had this setup there where they were giving out drinks and cups and stuff like that.
Slurpees?
And they ran out of it when we were there, I think, on Saturday, but we did get a couple of Slurpee cups or special cups, whatever they were. But we saw something that said, you could win, tickets to Fanatics Fest LA, and Jared had heard from somewhere that it was going to be next year. So I'm not surprised they want to move this around, and it was very well populated, and a lot of people were there all 3 days.
Not worth the trip to LA, though.
No, I don't think. Unless we can do Sports Bash from there, because they had a lot of radio outlets that did it in New York over the weekend. So perhaps maybe that could be a road trip next year for Sports Bash. They had a lot of places to set up. So we'll talk about it. In any event, it is time for the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day, and we do this every weekday on the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter page. So first, the results of Friday's poll question, and here was the question: if you caught a home run ball at a baseball game and it was hit by an opposing player, would you throw it back? And this is an interesting topic of conversation because the Chicago Cubs fans started doing this at Wrigley Field years ago, and then other fan bases started to copy it. My feeling is that if I was at a Major League Baseball game or any baseball game and I caught a home run ball, I'm keeping it. I don't care who hit the ball. That's a souvenir, man. I'm not throwing that back. And most people agree with me. 61% say no, they will not throw it back. 24% said it depends on who hit it. Again, it's the opposing player that's hitting the ball. Obviously, if it's a home player, you're going to keep it regardless. So 61% said no, 24% said depends, and 15% said yes, they would throw it back. What would you do if you caught a home run ball?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty cool souvenir, and even who knows, maybe it's even on video somewhere.
Yeah,
I mean that's something that you could hand down for generations. A video of you catching a home run ball or scoring a home run ball.
Wiz, would you keep the ball if it was the opposing player?
I don't care. It's a home run ball.
Right.
I'm keeping it.
Now, what would you do if it was a milestone ball? Like, what if you caught like a 3,000th hit or something like that, or a milestone home run?
I don't think I would be so quick to trade it for a bat and a used jersey.
I think there are some business reasons to hold on to that ball and seek legal advice after you got the ball, right?
Yeah, I would have to hold on to it. And listen, I give credit to these, you've seen many of these people who catch it and, they'll give them season tickets because it was a monumental home run. But I'm not really sure. You know what? If they're cashing that $2 million check weekly or monthly or annually, whatever it is, you know what? It's a miracle that it would have happened, but I think I'd have to hold out.
I think I'd hold on and see what the options were somewhere down the road.
Yeah.
Let's get to today's poll question of the day. And this is in the aftermath of the Little League Classic last night. And we know that Major League Baseball has put on some of these other special games, Rickwood Field earlier this year in Alabama, which was a Negro League stadium. And also they've done games at the Field of Dreams in Iowa. So a few years ago, I was with my family in Cooperstown. We got a little look-see at Doubleday Field. And how great would it be if Doubleday Field, the birthplace of baseball, hosted a Major League Baseball game, right? Doubleday Field. So today's question, should Major League Baseball have a regular season game at Doubleday Field in Cooperstown? What do you think?
Well, I've been to Cooperstown, as we all have, a number of times, and it just feels like baseball when you're in that town. Wherever you go, everything about the town is baseball. The shops are all baseball. The restaurants have baseball-themed specials on their menu. So absolutely, if you're a baseball fan, I think that would be a spectacular choice for MLB to put a game.
And they've recently undergone a number of
renovations.
Renovations
Restorations.
Restorations, renovations. They've really fixed up the place nice. A few years ago, it was in the process. I've seen pictures of it recently. They fixed the third base side. They built like locker room facilities there. I think they would probably have to bring in some temporary seating in order to make it happen. But I know that there's going to be a big push. I think Carl Ravitch from ESPN. Was it Carl Ravitch or somebody from ESPN brought it up that they should look at Doubleday Field as one of these special games. I think it would be phenomenal if
Well,
that happened.
I didn't see what was the attendance for last night's game.
Well, whatever that stadium holds, it was
Whatever
filled.
it holds,
Yeah, right.
I'm sure it was full.
It's a double A. I imagine it holds
3,000, 4,000.
Maybe it's double A. Maybe it's 5,000 or 6,000. I know that there's minimums you have to have depending on how high you are in minor league baseball. But whatever it was packed. I'm sure Doubleday Field. I would imagine, based on being there, it could probably accommodate 4,000 or 5,000 people. They probably have to maybe bump it up a little bit, I would think. But I think it would be a great 2,400 Doubleday Field, or last night 2,400.
2,400. Small.
Yeah, it's a small stadium. All right, well, listen, nice and intimate. It's like going to see a show at the amphitheater.
Yes,
at Bald Hill,
or seeing the Rise play.
Seeing the Rise play. Yeah. So listen, if you fill it up, it's a nice atmosphere. So go on Twitter and X and vote yes or no. Would you like to see a Major League Baseball game at Double-A Field? Wiz, you're nodding in approval there.
Yes. The only downside I should say is no, it is not the birthplace of baseball. That is a myth.
Well, it's named Doubleday Field, so I call it the birthplace of baseball.
Well, it's a phenomenal venue. I was there a few years ago when my brother was there, as well as his son, Vinny's son, was there. So it was really, really nice.
Okay, well, let's hope we can make that happen. Let's see if Doubleday Field can host a Major League Baseball game somewhere down the road. This day in sports history.
Yes, this day in sports history in 1985, as they said for the blurb, he's back as Mike Tyson had his first boxing match since he got out of prison. That's right. After that whole ordeal, he was off against Peter McNeely in the MGM Grand in Las Vegas.
Where did they find Peter McNeely? You remember that?
Yes.
Where did they find this guy? Tomato can.
Some kind of scrap heap.
Yeah.
Well, either way, it was pretty quick. It was only over 89 seconds because McNeely was disqualified. So out of prison, Mike Tyson got himself a W. And
you could have seen that coming.
You think?
I mean, Peter McNeely. Listen, I know he spent some time in prison. Mike Tyson did, but I mean that was ridiculous. That was you didn't even break a sweat that night.
No, Peter Schwartz would have had a better shot.
Well, yeah, it's somebody called up Boomer and Geo this morning, said that they noticed me at the Fanatics Fest on Saturday and said I looked like Butterbean.
Oh, there you go.
So I don't know if I should be like offended or happy that first of all it's wonderful when people recognize who I am, but I don't know if I want to be compared to Butterbean.
Yeah, Butterbean's a tough one.
But
yeah, I'd have some reservations about that. It depends on who it is and what the context is, really.
Yeah, I don't know if it could have been a good context.
Yeah.
Like I said, depending on the context.
Oh, whatever. It's always nice to be.
It's nice to be recognized.
They pronounce my name correctly. They spell my name correctly. They come up. They're nice. They say hello. But that person who called up didn't come over to say hello to me. But that's okay.
It's a different story.
It's all right. People come up here in the airport and say hello.
They
once
sure
in a while.
do.
Of course.
That will do it for this edition of Sports Bash. Coming up tomorrow is Free Ticket Tuesday. We have not had the pre-ticket Tuesday meeting. What
it's
do we
gonna.
think?
I believe this weekend at Bald Hill. Not I believe. I know. This weekend at Bald Hill is One Night of Queen. It's a Queen tribute band.
Okay.
But they are amazing.
Okay. So
you close your eyes and listen to that show, you would think Queen was up on the stage.
Is it like listening to Mike Del Giudice doing Billy Joel songs?
Better.
Yeah, better.
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah, they
okay.
are fantastic.
All right, so that'll be Free Ticket Tuesday tomorrow. Don't forget, Wednesday is Stump the Wiz. So you want to DM your questions to the Sports Bash Media, Instagram, Facebook, and X/Twitter. Your best sports trivia question. If you stump the Wiz, we pick your question, you stump the Wiz, you get a great gift on Wednesday's show. So that will do it for this edition of Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. For our entire crew, I'm Peter Schwartz saying thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and we are back again tomorrow morning